Guys, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while since we've had this thing on the channel here, and it's been kind of hurting. We really miss this thing, but we've had some problems, and we're here to fix these problems. So we got old Ben back, and in fact, we're actually so glad to have you like right next door.
Yeah.
Even though it's harder to get a hold of you now.
I know.
It's weird.
I need like I got a little cart. I just need some kind of little electric scooter or something.
Maybe we
like
could get we should get you a shopping cart, you know.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Actually, I think I've seen a shopping cart with like a welder, you know, attached to it. I think I've seen that before.
Just make a little rig.
We've had a little bit of an overheating problem with this, and we've tried to go to the track a couple times here, and just things have not gone right, and we ended up having some very, very serious air bubbles that we could not remedy. Air bubble here. Percolating. Look at it shaking. Wow. Yeah, this thing's a pain in the butt. Whew. We found some problems, and we're going to try and fix this once and for all.
The way we had it set up is we had the hot water coming from the motor, going in the small side, going in the bottom of the radiator, coming up, and then out the top. And when that purged out the radiator cap that was over there, it let coolant out, but air would get back in.
Yeah, so as we were revving it to draw it, we would suck air back down, and it's been a little bit irritating.
Up in the front, down in the middle, up in the back.
Yeah. So this thing was bottlenecked. So this is your cap, just a generic pressure, you know, cap with a weld-on fitting. So this was like halfway into this tube here.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, trying to breathe through a straw.
Yeah, it was definitely very
Pretty
restricted
much.
Right there.
So I just took this the other day and just created this 90 on it, and I figured we'll come up with a solution to mount an expansion tank and get this in a proper, because ideally I think we need the expansion tank as the highest point of the, which
right.
I think would be probably like right here.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
I haven't done.
We're also going to change the flow direction. We're going to bring the hot water in the top of the radiator and let it go down.
And then furthermore, we got this pump right here that is going to draw from the bottom. So if we draw from the bottom right there, we're going to have all of this fluid right here before we introduce air back in. So even if we have, you know, a high point here with reservoir and that draws that in, I think we should be in a much better place at that point. But most interestingly, we've got this thing that they call the Hitmaster. And so Laz, tell us a little bit about this thing. This is something that we got in order to be able to pretty much execute the best overall launch. I mean, it's kind of like a poor man's slipper clutch in a way.
So we got two stages. We got stage one, which is the hydraulic system.
Okay, so hold on, we got to say that the clutch fluid is going through that now.
Yes. Clutch fluid comes from the master down through the first stage of the solenoid.
That's pretty wild.
Loops back up to the clutch tamer. That does its thing. Back out of that, back to the second part of the solenoid, which we do not have hooked up yet. That's going to be the electronic side for stage two. And then back to going out of the cab.
So we've got a mechanical adjustment as well as an electronic
will
adjustment.
give you the time delay.
So there's a lot of really interesting information. Somebody had hit me up about this, and I became absolutely fascinated by it. We should be able to get a really good 60 foot out of this clutch, at least better than what we had.
They say 8/10.
What?
They say this setup should take 8/10 off.
I think if we get everything totally completely worked out, but we should be able to 60 foot better, and this clutch will take it. I mean, we got a monster clutch, what is it, like stage 4, and we got triple disc.
Yeah.
Best part of the whole truck is trans, diff, and
RPM.
Yeah, it is awesome.
This is our 4-wheel burnout setup. We're just gonna see how it does going down the track.
So guys, thanks for being patient with us. We are working out all the bugs. I mean, we have so many different cars. I mean, it's not just our cars that we're working on. This is the return for the water pump. This is out for the water pump. That is now going to go back to the top of the radiator back there, draw through the radiator, and then back up to the reservoir to be able to get air bubbles out is what we're basically going for right now. So kind of keeping it simplistic and, you know, pretty much problem free, we're going to try and run this very similarly like stock. We're thinking about having, you know, a reservoir up on the front and on the back. Well, we bought these things for like 30 bucks from Amazon. You couldn't beat it. Return right there, it goes up to the reservoir and then back in right there. So
the only difference is it's tying into the steam ports, which we could tie into the steam ports via here, and then we could do a fitting on the top of the radiator.
Yeah,
have two reservoirs.
I definitely do want to do that.
Yeah, it is.
Now, while the cooling system is a little bit different than what we would normally do, we are very familiar with the cooling system issues with an intercooler. So we decided we need to be able to get a port off the top of right here. This is going to be our highest point back here. We're going to go into the side right over here, mount this fella right here, and we're going to go ahead and tap into right there as well. So we're going to have multiple different areas where we're going to be able to get the air bubbles out. They should flow up to right here. However, all right, so next on this reservoir, we're going to have to be able to take this top and we're going to weld this guy onto right there. Here, look at this. Go fast parts.
It's not large, but gets the job done.
Familiar with that excuse, are we? All right, so as you guys might have seen before on this part of this build, we have a 1 3/8 and a 1 5/8 inch hose. Now, we had just swapped them. And Laz's latest addition is adding that pump.
We're gonna put this pump here, and this is gonna be our feed pump to feed the motor from the radiator. Go through the motor and get pushed back to the radiator by the water pump and the motor.
And
so if this flows more, which it should, then the water pump is just gonna add to pushing.
Yeah, and that's a beast little thing, isn't it? All right, so Laz just looked this thing up and he says it's 39.6 gallons per minute. That is a lot of flow. That's a lot.
We changed the size on the hose end.
Yeah, so this was larger and we went smaller basically.
But we had our shorter hose over here, so we are gonna have to couple this hose together. And then this one gets cut down a little bit more and we'll go around to that.
All right, Ben knocked out some stuff here for us, just like we were talking about. Don't tell me not to touch it.
Every time.
I'll burn myself on my own.
I know.
Okay, so that's gonna be on our front side right there. And in the addition to that, we have this guy right here. Well, that's the return, and that is the air bleed on the top there. So we got a good plan. It's coming to execution. I like it. All right, so we got that radiator back in there. We got our tank mounted at the moment. Now, initially I had some reservations in the fact that that's going to rise, or the air bubbles are going to want to go to that. But however, we are going to have a draw on that down there. We can and possibly will raise that guy if we need to, but these guys are working on some other stuff up here. I see we are we're grasping for clamps at the moment here. Yeah, look at that guy. Trying to throw this thing together to be able to test it, make sure that we're not going to have any sort of cooling issues for tomorrow. Put our data logger on it. We're checking the coolant temperature, making sure this thing's doing what it's supposed to, staying cool. Got 158 degrees right there. 160 right now. Transfer.
It is down low, like the heat goes like this.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, it is warm. It's right there. Yeah, this is cool right here for sure. It's gonna take a couple minutes, but we're working all the air bubbles out. I'm pretty excited. Hopefully this is gonna be it. Yeah, back down to 158. So far, so good.
The thermostat must have just opened.
Okay, awesome. Holding 162 right now. The lad just reached in, tripped the fans. Good?
Not right here. Right here is
are really impressive. I pulled all the heat out. 156, dude. I think we got it, man. That's awesome. As I'm sitting here editing this, it totally cracks me up to see Laz just like roll his eyes and be like, oh. Well, you have to know Laz, and he is definitely like the Eeyore. We call him that around here, and it's just so funny. Now, George on the other end of the spectrum is so happy, so go-lucky all the time, and it's awesome to work with you guys. I love these guys to death. Sometimes I'm the eternal optimist. Sometimes I can be the Eeyore. So it just cracks me up to see this play out. Man, this has been a nightmare, guys. I haven't posted much about it, but it's been very, very, very frustrating. Really? Wow. You can feel the heat right here.
Yeah, just wait a minute. Let him rev it up for a second.
Slowly. Slowly, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's impressive. Oh my gosh, it's cool again. That's impressive, man. Hell yeah.
163.
Yeah, we were just about 180. I think we got this here, guys. Hell yeah. I can't wait to get this back to the track. So that's our out, and our return is you can actually touch it. It's holding 163. It'll go up to 180 and come right back down to 158, so looking good. All right, everything is looking really, really good. This is better than we've had it in months and months and months. Honestly, this is the best that it's ever been. Fans are doing a fantastic job. Look at this guy here. Head gaskets and everything. We couldn't control the coolant and had issue after issue after issue. I mean, this has been such a weight lifted off our shoulders. So, whew, good job, man. Ben did an awesome job getting this thing all together too. So, man, super stoked. Let's go do it tomorrow. We go to the track tomorrow, do some test hits, hopefully before the rain comes. Guys, the weather around here has been crazy. It rained, what, 3 times today already? It's been wild, man. So,
like hurricane season in Florida.
It is, so. We're gonna try and get this thing to the track, but gotta depend on the weather. So finally, this thing is ready. Gosh, man. Oh,
and awesome. After this, we can start another project.
Yeah, we got a few more.
Oh my goodness. Time to do the truck.
Is that from the radiator?
Probably.
Or are you sweating?
I don't know.
That's awesome, man.
Kill it?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, you could probably stop anytime now.
All right.
All right, fellas, next episode we are going to take the S10 to the track and work on those 60 foots and really try and get that launch down. Now right here I wanted to share with you guys a car, really neat setup right here. There's only like 10% of all the production of CTSVs that are manual, and this one really makes some awesome power, so check this out. I'm about to talk nerdy to you. Hope you guys like the detailed information. Definitely dive in pretty deep on the tuning stuff, but it is fascinating how much power cars are making nowadays with ease. Guys, I wanted to share this car with you here. This is a normal setup that we have. This is our heads cam CTSV. And this thing just made just shy of about 800 wheel horsepower. A manual trans 2014 CTSV sedan. I had this car in a 2012, absolutely loved it. So guys, we just put a fuel system on this car and we rebaselined it to try and make sure that air fuel was gonna be right. So on 93, we made 740, 700, just making sure everything was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. And then we put some E85 in there, and that was a little bit of a leaner pull. So the power's probably still gonna come down a little bit, but it also was very hot. Once we added the E85, the torque went up, and went up so much that we were actually spinning the tires on the dyno. So I just went in, I put some dyno sauce on this thing, and we are ready to rip. In order to make this kind of power, I really wanted to share with you what it takes. Let's start from the front here. This is our Fasterproms 4.5-inch intake right there. Stock throttle body. Had we had a Nick Williams 102, we would still be able to make a very substantial amount more power. In some cases, I've even seen as much as about 35 wheel horsepower more. Now this does have a lower pulley as well as an upper pulley, but again, it's stock blower. It's a 1.9 liter blower. So this actually has our ultra thin thermal plates on there. We had a very limited production of those guys. And it does have our ported blower as well as our 1.8 gallon expansion tank. Coming off the blower that goes into there, we can put ice in there if we need to. When we want to puke out the hot water, that goes down in there. So if you're at the track, you can change that out. It's really nice and convenient. This probably has a set of Stainless Works 2-inch headers on it, and we just put on a supplemental fuel system that does allow us to be able to run full 85, which we were never able to do that before. The exhaust has some cutouts. Good thing, because these MagnaFlow mufflers right here have about a 2-inch neck down, so very, very small neck down right there, but when this is open, she flows pretty good. This thing has a great sound, so let me fire it up for you guys. This is a manual transmission car, so it does dyno a little higher, but also bear in mind the fact that this does not have methanol on it. That is a huge factor right there in order to making much more power. But the fact that it doesn't have methanol is proof to show that this thing is a really good, solid working package. So that air-fuel ratio of what we're trying to target is about 12:1. On our lean pull, it was about 13:1, and it needs just a little bit extra fuel. So we're adding about 7% extra fuel right there. We're trying to basically make this thing run about 12:3 air fuel ratio on E and about 12.0 on pump gas. So on pump gas, let's check out how much spark advance this thing has. We're gonna go into our HB tuners right here. We're gonna look at our load there. So we're at, on the low end, this thing is about 18.5 degrees, and then it gets up to 19 and then 19.5 degrees from about 6,000 RPM out. Now, because this is a little bit smaller of a blower, initially on the initial hit, it makes the most boost. So it's about 16.5 pounds, and then it trails down to about 14 pounds. Now, the reason we can run a timing curve that has less and then it goes to more is because our pressure is less at the top right there. Had it been the same amount of boost all the way across, not necessarily would we have an ascending timing curve, but only because our boost is descending. This 1.9 liter blower is being driven pretty hard in order to be able to make the power that it's making. So now that is on our 93 octane. Once we go over here, we're gonna go to our flex fuel right here. So on alcohol, we're adding another 4 degrees of spark advance from 4,800 RPM on out. So we're looking at between 22.5 to 23.5 degrees of timing total overall. Honestly, that's not a crazy amount. Had we had methanol injection on top of this, we could probably run another 2 or 3 degrees more timing. And typically these things are a little bit lower spark advance as is, and they like it about as much as they can before they knock. But the fact that we're able to run a much higher E concentration, now that we have the fuel system in here, this thing is making quite a bit more power than I think it ever had. I believe the best power that we ever made before was somewhere about 760. But now that we can run a higher amount of E, we can run more spark advance as well. So this thing is really clean, has a Brian Tooley Stage 3 camshaft in it, and the drivability is fantastic. Our fuel map looks really, really good. So here's our mass airflow. You can see it's very nice and clean. No crazy humps and bumps and jumps or anything like that. We've gone through our VE map, which is our base fuel map. And again, you can see that that's really pretty darn nice and clean. Nothing crazy humping and bumping around there either. Fairly clean transitions all the way through. And so lastly, with the spark, we can kind of see how it has a whole lot of spark advance at the light loads, and then as it gets into heavier and heavier load, really HB Tuners is so user-friendly. It's really, really nice and clean to see. So guys, I had one of these cars a few years back, and this is when this was really early. I went 11.0 at 131 miles an hour, I think it was, and I think I was making about 640 wheel with stock heads and cam and just, I think, a 2.5 upper pulley. Knowing what I know now, I wish I could have been able to push it to about 800 wheel and see how fast this could go. I got a buddy up in Pennsylvania. I think he has the fastest manual wagon. I think he went 10.0 at about 140 or so. But man, this is such a fun car. It is so nice. I remember the first time I got in a CTSV and I was blown away by the interior. It is just one of the nicest interiors that GM has ever done. That was about 10 years ago now, so Things have gotten a lot nicer since then, but this is still an outstanding car. So let's make a pull here. On there too. Check this out. That's a little bit of a fluke right there where it spun and grabbed. All right, we made a legitimate 758 wheel pound-feet of torque. Air fuel looks pretty good. So 12.3, that's kind of what I was targeting right there. 797 horsepower on that last one. Dude, that is strong. And if we're spinning on the dyno strapped down with extra sticky, I can guarantee you it's gonna spin on the street. All right, let's take a look at some of this data here. So we had it down about a quarter tank, and we could see it spun right there. The RPMs went up and then caught, and then it went up there. All right, so there's our boost. That's right about 16.5, and then it does trail down just to about, yep, right, like about I said, about right at 14.7 or so. 23 degrees of timing overall. Looking really, really good. 91% duty cycle. That's 1,000 cc injectors at 67 psi. We have a commanded 87, and the flex fuel is at 68%. So we do have enough room in order to make everything work still. A lot of people get all twisted up looking at that duty cycle, and that is not a problem whatsoever. We are going to be just fine right there. Even with a higher amount of E, we still will be able to make that work. And guys, it is not cool here. So the dyno was saying 91 degrees out there, and the intake air temperature right there reads 91 degrees. In the blower, 111 degrees, and at the end of the pull, about 131 that fast. That generates some heat fast, but it's how we manage it. Absolutely awesome. I love these CTSVs. I love this LSA. Once you guys have felt this kind of torque, you're ruined. You're just absolutely ruined for life. So you never, ever, ever want to go back to anything with less torque. So there's something about that positive displacement blower. It will ruin you. I hope you guys can experience that at some point, but it is amazing. Guys, we'll have to catch up a little bit later when I talk nerdy to you again. I'll see you sometime in the next episode. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wanted to say thank you so much for the support of what you guys have done, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do without your support. So guys, check out the merch in the back, and we got a whole bunch more fresh content coming up your way. I haven't done this in a couple episodes, so I wanted to kind of get back to that. I wanted to recommend a song for you guys. It kind of means something to me, and check out Casting Crowns, Nobody. Also, if you guys are into some old classic rock, one of my favorite things, I used to play guitar a whole lot, is Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. Definitely classic. Gotta love it. See you guys next episode.
You're so cute.